How much progress has America made when it comes to diversity in the automotive industry? We'll talk with the recipient of this year's Urban Wheel Awards and the associate publisher of Driven, a publication honoring African American achievement in the auto industry. Plus, a local organization sets out to bridge the digital divide in Detroit. That's all coming up next on American Black Journal.
Lindsay wants to know.
So I'm curious, what's DTE Energy doing to improve their customer service?
Why don't we take a ride over there and let Rachel tell us? Hello.
Hello. Take a walk with me. Here at DTE Energy, we're working very hard to improve our service, like answering every call under 1 minute and resolving the issue on the first call.
Wow, no passing the buck, huh?
Nope. And plus, we're adding over 100 customer service jobs right here in the state of Michigan.
I need to get a real job.
I'm going to send your application.
Thanks, Rachel. DTE Energy. Know your own power.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. For the past 17 years, the Urban Wheel Awards have kicked off the North American International Auto Show in Detroit. The gala event recognizes diversity and inclusion in the automotive industry. This year's sold-out awards show was held at the Motor City Casino Hotel and honored women who've made strides in the automotive field.
This particular event, it brings about recognition. It continues to keep diversity in the forefront of those that may not be paying attention. And so it's really, really important to acknowledge those trailblazers out there.
I always wanted to become an auto dealer. I just did not think it would happen so soon. My father passed at an early age of 62. So I was thrust into the day-to-day operations at 27. And it's been very good, a little challenging at times, but it's something that I always knew I wanted to do.
As we all know, diversity is important, and it's getting more important to our country. And I'm so happy that it's a part of the Detroit International Auto Show, and also that leadership within that show realized the importance of including diversity events.
As a company that's selling a product to the consumer, we want to reflect what our consumer base is. So the more diverse we are, the better we are at producing products that will respond to the needs of our customers.
My folks have always said to me that, if you believe in something strongly enough, you will succeed. And they have supported me, and just don't give up.
Honoring women in our society and amongst the world is too long overdue.
Women, African American women, Latino women, this whole urban community needs a spotlight on us. Sometimes there's so many negative things going on and being reported, and when you got something good to share, you need to say it loud.
Joining me now is one of the 2013 Urban Wheel Award recipients, Crystal Windham, Director of Design for the GM North American Passenger Car Interiors. Boy, that's quite a title. Also, here's Kathy Ned, the Associate Publisher of Driven, a premier publication recognizing African Americans in the auto industry. Welcome, both of you, to American Black Journal, and congratulations to you for your award. Boy, that's like I said, that's quite a title. Tell me more about your work.
Yes. Well, first of all, I am just delighted and honored to be a recipient of the Urban Wheel Awards. It means a lot to me personally. Also, it's a great forum event to really celebrate the accomplishments within the automotive industry of African American and others of multicultural descent, where you may not normally be recognized. So it really acts as fuel to really keep us going and really collaborate together and push forward. And lastly, it really signifies me having a responsibility now to pay it forward. So, and I'm really excited about that, because at General Motors we have several programs. One that I am active with, where I have the opportunity to reach out and share the opportunities in automotive design.
And when you were coming up through GM, tell me about how isolated or unique maybe you felt as you sort of went up the ranks. I mean, how much diversity is there really at those levels?
At General Motors Design, which I can speak, to clearly, I've been there almost 19 years, and I have seen a difference.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of our managers and leaders of very diverse backgrounds. But first I have to stop and say, what is diversity?
Right.
So the first thing is, I mean, some you can just assume race, gender, but it also includes unique thoughts, cultures, and experiences. And there are two avenues I see that have happened at General Motors. Not only certain appointments in managing positions of women, African Americans, and others, to show that GM is dedicated and respects diversity, because our products, we want to make sure that we reflect our customer base.
Sure.
But I also see a level of respect that we're going to offer international assignments for our designers or sculptors and engineers, so that we get out in the world and we respect others' cultures, we understand their infrastructure, and it just makes us well-rounded as designers, engineers of GM, and ultimately we have a better product.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Kathy, these awards obviously are right up the alley of your publication. Tell me about how important it is that we do this every year.
I think it's very important that we recognize the African American achievement in the automotive industry. There are a lot of young people out there today who aspire to be like Crystal, and I think it's just important when someone is reaching for something, they can see themselves in it. And like the Urban Wheel Awards, we do celebrate African American achievement, but we recognize, chronicle, and celebrate it through our publication, driven, a tribute to African Americans in the automotive industry. So this ensures that her story and stories of others like her are around for children to read about, and they can actually reach out to her if they're ambitious enough.
Right.
But the important thing is they wouldn't be able to reach out to her if they didn't know she was here.
Yeah. You know, it strikes me that you two are great role models for young African Americans and young women growing up who might want to be involved in this. But tell me about some of the people who might have inspired you and made it seem like it was possible for you to do the things that you're doing.
Right. Well, several people, of course. When you pursue your passion, which I will tell anyone, start there first.
Right.
Find your passion. And once you do that, for me, it was art, sketching, being creative. And then you have to validate your skill set. Someone needs to validate you, because you don't want to go too far down one path, and you really should have
right. Maybe you're not that good at it, right?
Right. And I have to say, for me, it was several people, starting out with my high school teacher, art teacher in 10th grade, who validated that I had talent, who led me to the College for Creative Studies right down in the heart of
Detroit, in the city,
which is a world-renowned university, so for art and design. And from there, I really went out to look for mentors in the industry. One was Marietta Ellis. She was one of the first African-American females in the industry, and she was very instrumental in helping me get started and get through school. And next, I have to say Ed Wilburn. Ed Wilburn is our VP, global VP of design.
Sure.
And he has been very supportive and instrumental. Whenever I reached a crossroad in my career and I'm like, should I go this way? Hey, you're really good at this, stick to it, keep going, and that has been enough to act as a guide for me throughout my career.
Yeah.
And speaking of Ed Wilburn, he wrote actually the foreword to the publication.
Oh, very good.
And when I was reading the foreword, which is really one of the first things you should read, like Crystal says, you follow your passion. He mentions that he had started drawing cars as early as 2.5 years old. It was so much his passion. And then I think it was the age of 11 is when he wrote a letter to someone in the industry and got a response. And it kind of kept him on track. And look where he is today, you know, as far as being the head of global design. And, you know, and I keep stressing when I say that global design is one thing, that means the entire world, you know, designed for General Motors, which is just extremely, extremely impressive.
Yeah, yeah. In the book, I mean, you really represent the sort of pantheon of of people doing I mean, just the wide range of different things.
We do.
Industry.
You have the people inside of the manufacturers, but you also have people outside of the actual manufacturers, suppliers that we recognize in the book, like Louis James, who's the head of MCL Jasco, and he supplies General Motors and some of the other manufacturers. We also do other folks that do other things that are unique to the industry. I don't know if everyone's aware, but the new general manager of the Grand Prix is an African-American gentleman who just got here.
Right.
Charles Burns. And so he's highlighted in the book, along with Reverend Douglas Jones, who's a pastor at Welcome Baptist Church in Pontiac. He is one of the founders and directors of the Dream Cruise. And we all know how big that is.
Yes,
he said his passion for cars started with his dad's Model T a long time ago. And then there's Harold Martin, who's just an icon in the race car industry, and he's African American. He actually did re-engineer a Cadillac that he calls now the Martin V1000, and it can go from 0 to 300, was it? It was a pretty high number in under a minute. Yeah. So
where would you do that? Hopefully not on the Lodge, right?
Right. Well, he races, and both of those cars were at the launch of the Grand Prix, and along with his car was at the launch of the publication, and it was really nice to see see that kind of contribution.
Is there are there parts of the industry that you feel like there's still real barriers or struggles for African Americans or women, or are we yet at the point where there's a pretty universal sort of surge forward?
Crystal could probably speak to that more than me. It doesn't really seem like it, but to the extent that there might be, we want to make sure they get into
it. I want to think that those barriers have been put down. And I know for a fact that General Motors is so committed to diversity, and they support us on the initiatives like You Make a Difference is a program that I'm a part of. And it's modeled after how I got into the industry. And that is getting together with high school students, exposing them to automotive design through an art-based foundation, right? And we go out to the schools and we teach them how to draw cars. And by doing that, I think you break down those barriers. You break down those barriers. You make a way for those students. Not only are they exposed to it at an early age, they are now connected to mentors right away, professionals in the industry, and the right schools to go to for recruitment.
And can tell you about the pathways. I mean, I think of all the people that I knew as a kid who were good at art. It's one thing to be good at that. It's another thing to know that that could lead to this kind of career.
Absolutely. And I also have to say, on the other side of it, when you see leaders that look like yourself in these positions that are enabled through their companies to develop these type of outreach programs, are to be able to stand in those shoes and really perform on a daily basis, I think that speaks volumes.
Right. If you look sort of forward a couple years, 10 years, I mean, we've never had an African-American CEO of one of the Detroit Three. I mean, we've still sort of got some way to go. How close are we to that kind of pinnacle, do you think? Are you going to be the next GMCO?
I think that's probably hard to say, but up until 4 years ago, we hadn't had an African-American president.
I know.
That's right. Well, that's right. A great point.
I think the more we
barriers are falling quickly, right?
Falling. The barriers are definitely falling, and I think the more we see African-Americans in those positions, I mean, and I say little girls, little boys, and I think that's of any color, become encouraged about the world of possibilities and how easy things have become.
Yes, and at General Motors, of course, we have Ed Wilburn in his position, but there are others. Alicia Boulder Davis, she is doing great things at General Motors. She is our highest ranked female at General Motors currently. And very young. Very smart.
Remind me of what job she's in right now.
She's the VP of Global Quality and Customer Care.
Very
good. She really has that interface to make sure our products are have quality, and our customers are taken care of on the other end. So absolutely, a lot of progress.
Very soon, hopefully. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having
us. Great segment. When American Black Journal returns, an organization that's made it their mission to get more of the community connected to the internet. It's becoming virtually impossible these days to function effectively if you don't know how to use technology. Yet many of our low-income residents still don't have access to computers and the internet. Focus Hope, a civil and human rights organization in Detroit, is working to bridge the digital divide by offering free computer training, low-cost computers, and affordable internet access. Focus Hope's Connect Your Community program has helped nearly 6,000 Detroit residents learn how to use computers and connect to the internet. Here to talk about the program are Focus Hope CEO William F. Jones Jr., who's been here before, and William Motts, Program Director of Connect Your Community. Thanks for being here on American Black Journal.
Delighted to be back with you again.
Yeah, what a great idea this is. I mean, I know Focus Hope is mostly involved or one of the most involved organizations in job training and things like that. This is skill building that's really critical to that sort of work.
Sure, I mean, absolutely. It's a natural extension of what we do to make certain that people are engaged in the economic mainstream, and you can't do that without internet access today. So This program has worked very, very well. It's been extremely effective, and we've been delighted with the results.
Talk some about what the landscape in Detroit looks like right now for internet access for people who might be in low-income areas.
Well, I'll let my colleague William Motts talk to that.
Sure, that's a good question. Approximately 60% of Detroit residents are not connected to broadband.
Are not?
Yes, which could equate to over 400,000 individuals living in Detroit not connected to the internet. And you know, as you mentioned earlier, it's not just a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. It's something that you need to apply for jobs online, to access your health care, medicine, you know, pay your bills. You know.
And talk a little more about what that lack of connectivity is about. Is it lack of providers? Is it lack of affordability? Is it a combination of those things?
Well, according to recent surveys, it's just that 50% of the folks not connected to the internet think it's not relevant to them.
So it's even in their cases, it's by choice.
Yeah, by choice. I don't think it's relevant to them. 20% think that they can't afford it. 13% believe that it's not available to them, and the other 17% believe that you know, there's a little bit of fear associated with that. You know, being the one that doesn't know how to use it.
Not up on
absolutely.
Which, you know, we can all sort of relate to. I have two small children whose mastery of technology almost intimidates me sometimes.
They're digital natives.
Just how quickly they adapt to things.
Absolutely.
Tell me about how the program has been going so far.
Well, and I just want to elaborate a bit. In many cases, people don't know what they don't know.
Well, right,
okay,
right.
In that case. Now, for us, we've seen an extraordinary, once the program became available, the attraction for seniors in particular in our neighborhood, right there in the community, was phenomenal.
Right, right.
Okay, we've had them at all ages come in. The classes have been full. We took 2 rooms that we had, converted it to classrooms, approximately 30 in each, in each classroom, and we'd run those concurrently.
Right.
Seniors, it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
we set out, and we've been partnered with Matrix on the east side, as well as community coordinator, Child Care Community Coordinating Council in Midtown to train individuals. We set out to train 5,250 as part of the federal Broadband Technology Opportunity Program.
Right.
We've actually, the 3 of us have trained 6,250 to take on nearly 1,000 more than our allotment.
Right, right.
The demand's been huge.
Yeah, well, I can imagine, and I'm glad you brought up the senior piece of this. I would imagine that, that's one of the real barriers. My mother turned 70 last year, and for her birthday, my sister and I bought her an iPad. And it's been really interesting to try to work with her to just figure out what it can be used for, to learn how to use it. She's doing great. She talks to her grandkids on FaceTime and Google Hangouts and things like that. But I would imagine it's harder with a generation that's not as adept at technology as others.
But they're thirsty. I mean, they're hungry.
They want it, right?
They want it. Once you've established that desire and people realize what it can be used for, we talked a bit about that, but prescriptions can be filled. It's used for safety.
Right.
There's money-saving opportunities associated with it because you can shop online.
Right.
You can also price compare online.
Right.
The communications aspects are huge. Our single oldest participant so far has been 95 years old.
Is that right?
That's
wow.
right.
And she took the class with her daughter, who is 76 years old.
Is that right?
So they both took the class together, and they're still using the internet today.
Yeah.
And they're using it to pay their bills online.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I said to my mom, and the way that we've worked with her is I said, don't try to think of things you might do with the iPad. I said, think of things that you're already doing, and then let's try to find ways that the iPad can help you do them. I would imagine that's probably the way you would approach it with anybody, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. We, our class is really focused on the computer basics, hardware, software. Mouse. What is a mouse? What is a keyboard?
Right.
And then we also teach, obviously, how to navigate the web. And one of our electives is showing folks how to use, seniors, how to use Skype, so they can communicate with their children and their grandchildren.
Yeah, yeah. What about kids? I mean, they're the ones who, like I said, they live in a much more, their whole lives have been spent in a much more digital world than adults. But if they don't have access, how hard is it are you finding it to?
Well, schools increasingly use the internet to communicate with parents, to distribute homework assignments,
sure.
Kids do research papers using information that they glean from the internet. So if you don't have that type of access, you're at a significant disadvantage.
At a very young age, at a time when you're supposed to be learning that stuff. Right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
What are you seeing with the kids that are coming through the program?
Oh well, first and foremost, they're already savvy. Okay?
Yes, that's right.
They're just, they take off and they're just running.
Yeah.
Leaps and bounds. I think that among the more significant aspects of the program is just providing them access to the additional tools that they can use beyond the Facebooks, beyond the other things that they can use.
Right.
And then having cohorts of young people that work together to try to solve problems, because you take this tool and you leverage its opportunities and its connectivity in many, many different ways.
Right, right. Well, talk about what we can do in the city of Detroit to sort of be more aggressive. I mean, this is a great program. 6,000 people is a lot of people, but as you said, you estimated you could have as many as 400,000 people who are not using or engaged with the internet. What are some of the solutions that we ought to be thinking about?
Well, training is one piece of it. We created a Microsoft certified refurbishing operation to help continue the program after the federal funding ends. So what we can do is we're looking for organizations, companies that want to donate their gently used computer equipment. They can bring it to us, we can refurb it, and we can sell it at a low cost to our students and then keep the program running.
What about access to broadband? I mean, is the city as wired as it should be? And if I live in a neighborhood with one house on a block, am I able to get all the same kind of broadband access that everybody else is?
Well, let's not overlook some of the assets that are there right now. Detroit Public Libraries provides free access to computers. The one which is right down the street from us, which we partner with quite a bit, Parkman Branch.
The Parkman Branch, right.
Yeah, absolutely. Terrific facility.
Yes.
They too provide
It's one of the
training.
best libraries in the city, and absolutely. I think people don't know that.
It's drop dead gorgeous inside. The staff there is phenomenal. But using the public library, using public spaces like that where you can get your internet access, because what you want is the information. It is obviously much more convenient if you have it at home.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then too, I think understanding the technology that's available to you in your phones. Okay.
Well, that's right. That's right.
I'm sure you and I use Google on our phones probably as much as we do on our computers.
Sure, right. I mean, your phone has become a computer as much as it's a talking device. It's a learning device now. What about those cell phones? I mean, a lot of low-income people have cell phones though that don't necessarily provide them internet access. I mean, are there things we should be doing to?
I think it'd be great if, well, there are other programs. I mean, Comcast does have their, what is it called, Digital Connectors program? Or
The Comcast Essentials program also, which if you have a child in school in the lunch program in Detroit, they can get internet access for $9.95 a month.
Great. Yeah, one of their criteria, it's something that they've rolled out in other communities as well. One of the criteria was if the kid qualifies for free or reduced lunch, but that's already been established for all DPS children.
Right.
So, you know, it's something that you should look at.
We've got about 30 seconds left. I want to make sure we say how people can get in touch with you guys to get into this program.
Sure. Well, we've got a telephone number available.
Yep, 313-494-4368.
Very good.
Okay, as well as our website.
And it's open to anybody.
Website.
So try that website.
That's right.
That's a great way to do it. And I want to emphasize what William said before too. We are looking for gently used computers, specifically large lots like from companies, because that's going to help us.
That helps with
Blue Cross Blue Shield donated 1,700 computers in 2010, and that put our program at a huge advantage.
That's excellent. Yeah, great program, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks for joining us. We'd love to hear what's on your mind and get ideas for future topics for the show. Connect with us on Facebook and continue the conversation. We'll see you next time on American Black Journal. Always.
Lindsay wants to know.
So I'm curious, what's DTE Energy doing to improve their customer service?
Why don't we take a ride over there and let Rachel tell us? Hello.
Hello. Take a walk with me. Here at DC Energy, we're working very hard to improve our service, like answering every call under 1 minute and resolving the issue on the first call.
Wow, no passing the buck, huh?
Nope. And plus, we're adding over 100 customer service jobs right here in the state of Michigan.
I need to get a real job.
I'm going to send your application.
Thanks, Rachel. DTE Energy. Know your own power.